Hello and welcome to another quick cold and dark start tutorial, this time for the magnificent Leonardo Maddog X, which has just been released a few days ago. So to set this bird up, we're just going to enter the cockpit, and first of all, please make sure that you set the load manager and the setup of the airplane correctly so that it loads up cold and dark, so we can start from the same point. First of all, you can pull up this little tab and hide the yokes with it. I would suggest that you do so for better visibility of all the switches and instruments. And next we will go to the overhead panel and switch on the battery. And I'm going to do this start procedure with the APU. So please switch on the APU start pump and then turn the master switch of the APU to start position, and we'll go to the outside of the airplane and wait for the APU to start up. You can see the APU exhaust just above the right engine, and we'll just wait for the beautiful black smoke to come out of that exhaust. And here we are. This is just one of the small details that I love so much about this plane. So we wait for it to spool up, and we wait for the APU generators to be available. You can already set the APU air on, and as I said, both APU generators to on. Now we will set the parking brake. You can either do that by your usual button, or you can also do it here at the steering tiller. Next, both flight directors to on, and you can turn up the instrument, or you should turn up the instrument brightness so that you can see your primary flight display and the navigation display. The fuel pumps we will set as required. I don't have any fuel in the center tank, so we'll just switch the right and left fuel pumps to on, and we will arm the emergency lights. Cabin signs on, and windshield anti-ice on. The anti-skid system, we have to arm this one, and the yaw damper will be switched on as well. Pressurization, you can set that for the sake of simplicity. I don't do it for now. We switch on the external lights accordingly, so we can already switch on. I know it's not correct, but so that you would usually just switch that on after the pushback, but I'm going to switch it on now so that I don't forget it. And we will also switch on the position lights and the anti-collision lights. Alright, on the MCP we will set speed. I know that you should pay attention to the V speeds here, but I will just set it to 180 for now. And since we don't know which runway we're departing, I will just set this to the heading to 100, because I will be planning to take off from runway 10. And also the altitude, you can set that to whatever you like. I will set it to 10,000 now. And next we will set the barometer, and I just press B. You can see that the altitude just adjusted itself. So next up is the squawk that we set. We just set it to 2000 and already to TRA. And next up is the FMS programming. You can pull that up with Shift 2. Now I'm just going to do this quick and dirty, just like the tutorial that I'm doing here. So I'm just going to enter the position for the initialization of the of the systems and the alignment. We are taking off from San Francisco, and we just suppose that we are going to Washington, which is KIAD, and activate execute. So departure, we will set 10 right, and I just put in random things here so that something is in the flight planner. Please, if you plan on doing a route, you will set up this accordingly, I suppose. We will take ILS 01 center as the approach in Washington and execute. So there should be a flight plan now. Of course, there's a discontinuity, but we won't care about that right now. So we will go into the performance page, and now there are some things that you should put in there. You can take a look at the fuel quantity panel here, because you need the total fuel quantity, which is 8.0, and for some reason, please don't ask me why, you have to put in a dash n. I have not digged into the manual so deeply that I know what I'm doing here, but I saw it in the tutorial, so I'm doing it this way. Then you can press this button, and you can see the 0 fuel weight, and that is 46.9. We will put that in here, and the reserves I will just switch it to 5. Cost index is okay for me, and the flight, the cruising altitude will be 310. Alright, transition altitude 18,000. Takeoff. Now you can, I will also uncage this one, and you can, I think it's shift 5, yeah, that's the takeoff data. So you can set your takeoff flaps here. You can see that it changes on the paper, and you can see that the V speeds change accordingly. So we will pull up our FMS again, and we will enter the V1 speed, which is 121, and we will enter the V rotate speed, which is 127, and the V2 speed is 135. Pre-flight complete. The next thing you want to do is set the V speeds in the cockpit. There's a click spot here, and you just click it, and it gets set accordingly on your side and on the first officer's side. Next thing you want to do is shift 7. You have this here, and you will take a look at the MACTO, and this is the CG setting that you should set, and it's already 14, so you can change that here, but it is set accordingly. Also, I would advise you to already set the stabilizer trim accordingly. Takes some time, but there we are. All right, and now the air conditioning supply both to off, which is already set to off. We will set the throttles or the performance accordingly to takeoff here, and the next we will push the, take a look at this panel here. We will push the toga button, and it's armed, and V-bucks are set, stabilizer trim is set, air conditioning, yeah, we did that. So we will set the ignition system as required. I'm going to switch it to both here, and you will now set the hydraulic pumps on the first officer's side both to on, and we will set the auto brakes now to takeoff, rejected takeoff, and arm them, and we will also set the pneumatic cross feeds both to open. Alright. Okay, we are ready for engine start. Now I will do a quick pushback, I will do it manually. I will not use the built-in system. I will just push the airplane back. And while we are pushing back, I will do the engine start. So we'll switch the overhead panel, and we will unguard this switch here. And I hope everything is set accordingly. Set it to on. And watch the N2 rise here, and we will keep an eye on the fuel valve here for the engine, and as soon as N2 hits 20 we will switch on the fuel. And here we go, and as soon as N2 hits 40 we will switch off the start switch. Here we go, and guard it again. Okay, we will take a look where we are with our pushback. Okay, that's fine. And reset the parking brake. And we will repeat the procedure for the second engine. Unguard it. Switch to on. Watch N2 rise. As soon as it hits 20, we'll switch on the fuel. And as soon as it hits 40, switch off the start switch and guard it again. Now we will switch on the galley power, pitot and static heat captain, air supply both to auto, so then we can switch off the APU air. The start pump can go to off and the APU can be switched off now. Back to the captain's side, we will arm the speed brakes, and we will, with the hydraulics pump auxiliary on and trans on, and the pneumatic and pneumatic crossfeed valves we can switch that to off again, and we can set the takeoff flaps. So you can go here, you can dial a flap in. I've set 50, so I will just switch it to 15. If you put it one step down, one more, then you can actually, it should be this one. You can actually dial a flap. For example, you can now actually, it should work. Oh no, I'm sorry, I did that wrong. I'm gonna switch it to 15 here again, and you can dial in the flap here. Sorry. For example, we can dial in, like, let's say we have 18, and you can switch one step down from 15. See, it just goes down one notch, and you can see the flaps, they are now extending to 18, but we'll go for with 50. So now we need the lights for sorry, not for takeoff, but for taxi. We have already set that, so we can start our taxi. So basically the tutorial kind of ends here for all the people that just wanted to see how to start up the airplane. I will, if you stay with me, I will just show you the very basics of the takeoff. So while we do the takeoff to our, while we do the taxi to our runway, there are some things that you should be aware of when you're taxiing this airplane. First thing is that it can taxi depending on the load you have and depending on the cargo and passenger number you have. This plane will taxi on idle power, so please keep that in mind. It can get very fast if you don't pay attention to your taxi speed. Also, the aircraft is is rather long, and so when you make turns, you should kind of use some kind of oversteer or overturn technique where you wait, where you sit in the cockpit and you wait till the see the turn coming up. So you wait a long time till you make your turn, so you don't have the back of your gear hit the grass or something like that. Okay, so I will shorten our taxi a little bit here. I will just turn on the runway a little bit earlier. So the things we're gonna slow down here a little bit. So you should make sharp turns at 10 knots, something like that. Okay, so we will make our turn here. Alright. So we will now set the lights for takeoff, which means we will set the nose lights to bright. We will extend the wing landing lights, and we will also switch on strobe lights and the floodlights. Alright. Okay. Engine ignition should still be on both, if it's correct. Okay. And you will line up the runway. Alright. Slowly advance the throttles to 1.4 EPR. And then press auto throttle. And EPR takeoff. Takeoff thrust set. Use your rudder to stay on the center line. And watch those speeds. And as soon as you hit V rotate, rotate, do a gentle rotation, and as soon as you have positive climb rate, gear up. Use the stabilizer to get into a smooth climb and set the power. Climb, and as soon as you are 400 feet above ground, you can start to use your autopilot if you want. Like, you can now set the autopilot to on, you can set to heading select, you can switch on the altitude capture, and that's a bit of a high climb rate, so I'm going to turn that down. And start retracting the flaps at the appropriate speeds. So this concludes this tutorial. I hope that I was able to show you how to get this aircraft up and running in a quick way, and I hope you will have a lot of fun with this aircraft because it is a wonderful aircraft. So please take a look at the very good documentation that they are providing with the airplane, and yeah, thank you for watching, and as always, happy landings.